Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Hockey Talk with TG podcast. I'm Ty Glenn. Hopefully, you guys are having a great day. Got lots of NHL news to cover for you. There was a 10-game slate on yesterday. I might be recapping at least 8 or 9 of those games due to the time on the Hockey Talk with TG podcast. So we're going to go ahead and get right into it. So Dan Vladar, he makes 16 saves in the Flames 3-0 shutout win over the Blue Jackets Tuesday. So they end their season 1-1 in their season meetings. And Calgary improves to 13-9-4 of the season, and they end their 4-game skid. Rasmus Anderson, he had the game-winning goal in the game on the power play. The team captain, Michael Backlund, he had 2 assists in this game. Kevin Ball and Igor Sharangovich scored the other goals for Calgary. And, like I said, Dan Vladar made 16 saves in the game. And the Blue Jackets, their 6-game point streak comes to an end. They were 5-0-1 during the span, 11-10-3 of the season. And Elvis Merzlikins, he makes 19 saves for the Columbus Blue Jackets. But the bigger moment of that game, and I'm pretty sure you guys know where I'm going with this, the bigger moment of that game was the memorial service that the teams held for Johnny and Matthew Gaudreau. Because, of course, Johnny Hockey, like you guys already know, played his 11 seasons in the NHL with the Calgary Flames and Columbus Blue Jackets. Of course, passed away in August after he and his brother were hit by a drunk driver. Reminder not to drink before you go behind the wheel. And so it was an emotional game. It really was an emotional game. And I said before the season started, I said that when the Blue Jackets and the Flames play, that game was going to be emotional. If you thought the home opener between the Blue Jackets and Panthers was emotional, yes, that game was emotional. But when the Blue Jackets and Flames played, that was going to be an emotional game as well, because Johnny Hockey spent his 11 NHL seasons with the Flames and the Blue Jackets. And of course they had a video tribute. It was a ceremonial faceoff which featured the Gaudreau family. And during Johnny Hockey's 9 seasons with the Calgary Flames, had 609 points in 602 career games played. So 210 goals, 399 assists, for 609 points in 602 games played, 9th in goals, 5th in assists, 5th in points, and just what he meant to the community. Not only to the Blue Jackets, because of course he played for the Blue Jackets, but for Calgary, because that's where he spent the majority of his NHL career. And he connected with the community very much. If you got to meet Johnny Hockey as a person, it was kind of the best thing. I can't really say that much because I've never met him in person, but it was the best thing ever. He was so nice and generous, and he was just all around a beloved hockey player. And of course, we, the hockey world, the hockey community, we're thinking about the Gaudreau family. We're thinking about them keeping them in our hearts. And ever since the Gaudreau brothers' passing, we saw the Calgary Flames and the Columbus Blue Jackets did the same thing as well. They held vigils. They had tributes. They put flowers and jerseys and personal memories of the Johnny Hockey, what he meant to Calgary and Columbus, especially Calgary near the Saddle Dome. And it was just touching tribute right there. And of course, we all know that the Blue Jackets, they have Johnny Gaudreau's number 13 up to the rafters. They could do the same thing in Calgary. Who knows? We could see the same thing happen in Calgary for the Calgary Flames. But yeah, just wanted the Gaudreau family to know we're keeping you in your hearts. We're thinking about you. This not only affects you, this affects the hockey community in general, especially what Johnny Hockey meant to the world as a hockey player. So yeah, we're just thinking about you in hearts every single day, and wish he was still here. But yeah, but let me just say this to all you guys. If you go out and drink and you have a party and you all hooked up and stuff, please do not get behind the wheel. If you are high on drugs, if you are high on weed, if you're drunk, please do not get behind the wheel, because you never know what can happen. So, and that's just a reminder not to go out and drink as well, because drink is not good for you. Getting high is not good for you. You may think that when you're younger, but it's just going to lead to bad stuff. So just try and stay away from that stuff. Of course, you guys know I'm a college student. I be on campus. I see people smoking and drinking all the time on campus. So, and it's just sad to see that, because they don't know what that stuff can do to them. So that's just a reminder to you guys not to go out and drink and get behind the wheel if you are drunk, which hopefully you don't drink. Hopefully you don't smoke weed or nothing. Hopefully you don't get high. But anyway, love the tribute that they put on to the Gaudreau brothers. Always thinking about them in our hearts, and they will never be forgotten. Johnny Hockey forever, number 13 forever. The Blue Jackets, they continue their 5-game road trip in Western Canada as they head to Edmonton to take on the Oilers Thursday at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Time. This will be a back-to-back set. They will play the Canucks on Friday at 9 o'clock p.m. Central Time. Flames are back in action against the St. Louis Blues Thursday at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Time. All right, let's get into the Devils the Bruins and the Red Wings. So 2 original 6 teams going at it Tuesday. Pavel Zacha, he scored the overtime game-winning goal as the Bruins win 3-2 against the Red Wings. So he scored 2 minutes and 15 seconds into overtime. And Boston has now won 5 of their past 7 games, and they moved to 13-12-3 this season. And I think ever since hiring Joe Sacco as the interim as their head coach, I think they're now 5-2 under Joe Sacco, if I'm not mistaken. They were 8-9-3 before Montgomery was fired. They're now 5-2, I believe, under Joe Sacco, excuse me. And Nikita Zadorov, he scored his first goal as a Boston Bruin. He can really let it rip from the point. Justin Brazeau, he had the game-tying goal on the power play. And Jonas Korpisalo made 25 saves for the Boston Bruins. Lucas Raymond, he scored twice for Detroit, coming up big for the Red Wings right there, but it wasn't enough to finish off the hat trick and win the game. He extends his point streak to a career high 8 games, so good job, Lucas Raymond. And that's his 200th NHL career point as well, so 200 NHL points in his career for Lucas Raymond. Simone Everson, he had 2 assists, while Billy Husso made 32 saves. Detroit, not looking so good as they have now lost 3 straight games, 0-1-2 during the span, 10-11-4 of the season. And the Bruins, they travel to Chicago to take on my Chicago Blackhawks Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. This is a second game of a back-to-back set for the Boston Bruins. And this game will air on TNT, True TV, and HBO Max. The Red Wings, they will be in Ottawa Thursday to face the Senators at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time. Now we're moving on to the Avalanche and Sabres. So the Avalanche, they scored 5 unanswered goals in their 5-4 comeback win over the Buffalo Sabres. And Arturi Lehkonen got the game-winning goal in that game in the third period, and the Avs moved to 14-12-0 of the season. Nathan McKinnon, he had a 3.9, getting 2 goals and 1 assist. And Joel Kivianta and Logan O'Connor, they scored the other goals for Colorado, while Scott Wedgwood stopped all 22 shots facing net. So, of course, he made his NHL debut. But he made his Avalanche debut when the Avs, of course, replaced Alexander Georgiev, who allowed 4 goals on 8 shots facing the first period. So, not a good game for Alexander Georgiev, but hey, Scott Wedgwood delivered. Of course, he's coming in that trade from the Nashville Predators to the Colorado Avalanche. Of course, the Avalanche trade Eustace, hopefully I said his name right, and to the Preds for Scott Wedgwood. And for the Buffalo Sabres, Tage Thompson, he scored twice in the game. J.J. Paterka, he had a goal. And Beck Malestein, he had a goal, while Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen made 38 saves for the Buffalo Sabres. And the Sabres not looking so good. They have now lost 4 straight games. And they moved to 11, 12, and 2 of the season. I thought they had a solid November. Probably wasn't the best November for the Buffalo Sabres, but I thought it was very solid. And I thought in that moment they were going to turn that team around, but obviously still the same results. And Rasmus Dahlin, he only played one shift in that third period before leaving the game with a undisclosed injury. No time telling when he'll be out for the Buffalo Sabres. Hopefully it's not long, because it is tough to have your captain out. Of course, the Capitals are going through the same thing with Alex Ovechkin being out for a few weeks. Hopefully it's not that long for Rasmus Dahlin. But the Sabres, they continue their 5-game homestand Thursday against the Winnipeg Jets at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time, while the Avalanche continue their 5-game road trip in Carolina against the Hurricanes Thursday at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time. All right, Canadiens, Islanders. Nick Suzuki, he scores the overtime game-winning goal in the Canadiens' 2-1 win over the Islanders. In the Habs, they moved to 9-13-3 of the season after losing 2 straight. Patrick Laine scored in his season debut for Montreal. He missed the last 24 games due to that knee sprain injury. And he managed 17 minutes and 27 seconds of time on ice, 19 shifts, and he had 2 shots on goal, but finally got one in the back of the net for his first goal of the season and his first goal as a Montreal Canadian. Sam Montembeault, who we could possibly see, probably not really, but we'll just have to see if he bees in Team Canada for 2025 NHL 4 Nations Face-Off. Of course, those rosters will be coming out today. But he made 30 saves for the Canadiens in this game. For the Islanders, Anders Lee scored the lone goal for New York, while Ilya Sorokin made 25 saves in this game. And the Islanders won 2-2 in their past 5 games, 2-4-3 in their past 9, and they moved to 9-10-7 of the season. The Canadiens, they continue their 5-game homestand against the Nashville Predators Thursday at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time, while the Islanders head home to face the Kraken Thursday at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time. Of course, that Islanders and Kraken's game will be on, I believe it will be on ESPN Plus and Hulu, so you should be able to watch the game on there. But anyway, moving on to the Sharks and Capitals. So William Eklund, he scores the overtime game-winning goal as the Sharks win 2-1 against the Capitals. So he scored 39 seconds into overtime on the power play. Sharks won 3 straight games in a row. They moved to 10-13-5 of the season. Of course, Macklin Celebrini, their first overall draft pick from the 2024 NHL Draft. He was named November Rookie of the Month. He got an assist in this game as well, so really racking up points for the San Jose Sharks. Tyler Toffoli, he scored the other goal for the Sharks, while Mackenzie Blackwood made 27 saves. For the Capitals, Nick Dowse scored the lone goal for Washington, while Logan Thompson, who we could see on Team Canada for 2025 NHL 4 Nations Face-Off, made 29 saves in this game. Capitals' 4-game winning streak comes to an end, and they move to 17-6-2 of the season. But the Capitals, they will head to Toronto to face the Leafs Friday at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time. This is a start of a 3-game road trip for Washington, and the Sharks continue their 6-game road trip in Tampa Bay against the Lightning Thursday at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time. All right, Panthers, Penguins. So Brian Russ, he scores the overtime game-winning goal in the Penguins' 5-4 win over the defending Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers Tuesday. Scored 1 minute and 31 seconds into overtime. Penguins have won 4 straight games now, and they move to 11-12-4 of the season. And they're getting Malkin. He had a goal and assist in this game for the Penguins. Blake Lizotte had 2 assists. Owen Pickering got his first NHL goal in this game. And Chris Letang and Marcus Pettersson had the other goals for Pittsburgh, while Tristan Jarry made 37 saves. And Matthew Tkachuk for the Panthers, 4-point night. So he really put on the show in this game despite the 5-4. Was it 5-4? Yeah, 5-4. 5-4 overtime loss. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to remember. I know I just said it. But 5-4 overtime loss. 2 goals, 2 assists in this game for a 4-point night. And he surpasses 600 career NHL points in this game. So he now has 602 points in 611 career games, 225 goals, 377 assists for 602 points in 611 games. So milestone right there for Matthew Tkachuk. He has 23 points in 21 games played this season, 7 goals, 16 assists for 23 points in 21 games played this season for Matthew Tkachuk. And Sam Bennett and Adam Boqvist scored the other goals for the Panthers. Of course, the Panthers in the third period, they were down 4-1. They got goals from Sam Bennett, Adam Boqvist, and of course Matthew Tkachuk on the power play. Second of the game right there for him. But the Panthers, they head to Philadelphia to take on the Flyers Thursday at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time, while the Penguins head to MSG, Madison Square Garden, to take on the New York Rangers Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. All right, Kirill Kaprizov. He scores the overtime game-winning goal in this game as the Wild win 3-2 against the Canucks. So 2 of the best teams going at it, and the Wild, they got it done. They sweep their 3-game homestand. Of course, Kirill Kaprizov extends his point streak to 4 games, 5 points during the span, 3 goals, 2 assists for 5 points during the span, 39 points in 24 games played this season, 16 goals, 23 assists for 39 points in 24 games played this season. And fun fact, even though the Wild, they did sweep their 3-game homestand, like I mentioned, but they all came in 3-2 victories. Of course, 2 of them went overtime. So I kind of found that very odd and amusing right there. But they won 4 straight games now. They're 6-1-1 in their last 8, and they improved to 17-4-4 of the season. They're first in the Central Division. They're first in the league. So everything going all right for the Minnesota Wild. And, of course, if you guys didn't see that video on my TG Hockey channel on the best on some of the top 10 takeaways and moments from November, I mentioned Kirill Kaprizov's November stats in that video, and he had a great November. He currently leads the Wild, I think, in points. I know in points, but I believe he leads the Wild in goals and assists as well. So he is doing everything for the Minnesota Wild, and of course a top player to watch for Minnesota. So he leads the team in goals, assists, and points right there. Freddie Gaudreau and Jake Middleton scored the other goals for the Minnesota Wild, while Philip Gustafson made 30 saves. For the Canucks side, Quentin Hughes, Jake DeBrusk scored for Vancouver. Elias Pettersson had 2 assists, while Kevin Lankinen made 26 saves. Now, this was Kevin Lankinen's first road loss of this season. He's now 10-0-1 on the road, which he did set the NHL record for most road wins to start a season. And the Canucks, they finished their 6-game road trip 4-1-1. They moved to 13-7 for the season. Coming into this one, they won 2 straight in a row. Both of them were in overtime, but the Wild just had to end their road trip with an overtime loss. But the Canucks, they're back at home in front of their fans. They will start a 6-game homestand Friday against the Columbus Blue Jackets at 9 o'clock p.m. Central Time, while Minnesota starts a 3-game road trip in Anaheim Friday against the Ducks at 9 o'clock p.m. Central Time. All right, Blues, Jets. The Blues, they came away with the 4-1 win over the Winnipeg Jets Tuesday. This is a first game of a 4-game road trip for the St. Louis Blues. Dylan Holloway, he had a 2-point night, getting 1 goal, 1 assist. Of course, his goal was the game-winning goal, and the Blues improved to 12-2 of the season. Robert Thomas, he also had a goal and assist in the game for a 2-point night. Jordan Kyrou, he had a 2-goal game, while Joel Hofer made 22 saves, and the St. Louis Blues, they extend their point streak to 4 games under Jim Montgomery. 3-1 since Jim Montgomery was hiring. This was on November 22nd, I believe. For the Winnipeg Jets, Mark Scheifele, he scored the lone goal, while Connor Hellebuck made 28 saves in this game. And the Jets, they lost 4 straight, won 5-0 in their last 6. 18-8-0 this season, which leads me to my next discussion. What is going on with the Winnipeg Jets? They started the season winning 15 of their 16 games. So they went from up here and then they went down here. So kind of like a roller coaster almost. Kind of like a roller coaster. They went up and they went down. I don't know what's going on with the Jets, but despite their 4-game losing streak, I don't think there's you don't have to put on the panic button just yet. You don't have to put on the panic button just yet if you're a Winnipeg Jets fan. I believe they're going to come back from this as well. But one thing I would say is the defense needs to be better. So I noticed that the defense for the Jets has not been contributing to these games lately, and that's kind of what leads to the Jets losing as of right now. But I believe the team can come back. I mean, they're still a good team to watch. But the offense has dropped as well. So, of course, Mark Scheifele, Kyle Connor stepping up for the Winnipeg Jets. I would have said Nikolai Ehlers, but he's currently out with an injury. But the Winnipeg Jets offense themselves needs to step up. And if you take a look at the lineups on the Daily Faceoff website, they have a great lineup, great top 6. But their offense has not been contributing and helping out these last 4 games. Because, like I said, they lost 4 straight games. And the losing streak started on November 27th against the LA Kings. They lost 4-1. Against the VGK, Vegas Golden Knights, on November 29th, they lost 4-3. And against Dallas Sunday, they lost 3-1. Tuesday against St. Louis, they lost 4-1. So you kind of notice that they only scored 1 goal in 3 out of their 4 games during this 4-game losing streak. So only 1 goal came on their 4-game losing streak. On at least 3 of their last 4 games, they only scored 1 goal. Of course, like I mentioned, against the Golden Knights, they put up 3 goals. So we haven't really been seeing that much from the offense, and that's what we have to see. Also, I feel like a need for the special teams should help as well, because power play not looking so good for the Jets. Penalty kills should come up big. I don't know where they rank in penalty kill, but we really need to see the power play click for the Winnipeg Jets. And you should take a look at the Jets' next upcoming games. Like I said, I wouldn't put on the panic button just yet. I mean, these should be easy wins for the Winnipeg Jets these next 4 or 5 games. So, of course, Thursday, December 5th, they'll be in Buffalo to take on the Buffalo Sabres. And then Saturday, December 7th, that should be an easy win over the Chicago Blackhawks. Sunday, December 8th, well, they already beat the Blackhawks once this season. So, like I said, easy win. Sunday, December 8th, they'll take on the Columbus Blue Jackets. And then Tuesday, December 10th, they take on the Boston Bruins. Thursday, December 12th, they take on the Vegas Golden Knights. So I wouldn't worry just yet. Even though Buffalo's talented, they have a good young roster, I think the Jets will get an easy win over the Buffalo Sabres. And they for sure will get an easy win over the Chicago Blackhawks. So I wouldn't put on the panic button just yet. Now, other teams that's not doing well, New York Rangers. Is it rock bottom for the New York Rangers? So, of course, the Rangers have now lost 5 of their last 6 games after that 5-1 loss to the New Jersey Devils Monday. Their only recent win was a 4-3 win over the Montreal Canadiens Saturday. And they barely won that game. Capo Caco, he scored the game-winning goal in that game, I think, with 24 seconds left in that third period Saturday against the Montreal Canadiens. Of course, that was an afternoon game. They barely won that game against Montreal. And then they come into Monday's game and they lose 5-1 to the New Jersey Devils. And, of course, there has been some rumors on when the Rangers were going to trade Chris Kreider, Jacob Trouba, possibly Mika Zibanejad. Because the Rangers, they have been inconsistent these last 6 to 8 games. And as you take a look at their playoff picture, like I said, they're 13-10-1. They are 4th place in their division. But I think they can bounce back. I mean, they probably won't be cup contenders. They'll be playoff contenders. They probably won't be cup contenders. But I believe they can bounce back from this losing streak right here. They have a capable roster of turning things around. So I think just finding that special teams, finding the offense, the defense, that from key time players, that will be key for the Rangers to turn this season around. Of course, Artemi Panarin, he's leading the way for the Rangers in goals with 13 and points with 29. Adam Fox leads the way with 20 points. So, of course, top players coming up in a big way. So, yes, there's still time for the Rangers to turn their season around. All right, NHL games on the slate. So, there's only 4 games on the slate for today. Start off with the Nashville Predators taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. Of course, the Predators are playing a back-to-back set. They'll be in Montreal tomorrow to take on the Montreal Canadiens. Of course, the Boston Bruins, they're going to be taking on the Chicago Blackhawks. Blackhawks, ugly game in their last outing against the Toronto Maple Leafs. They lost 4-1. They'll take on the Boston Bruins, who will be playing a back-to-back set because they won 3-2 in overtime against the Detroit Red Wings yesterday. Pavel Zacha scored the overtime game-winning goal. They'll look to go 2-0 in this back-to-back set, which should be an easy win for the Boston Bruins. So, if you're a Boston Bruins fan, you don't have to worry about this game because, of course, the Bruins are going to beat the Blackhawks because as a Blackhawks fan and as a Chicago sports fan, Chicago sports teams have been coming up big of late. Of course, the Bears, they fired their head coach. Blackhawks should do the same with Luke Richardson because we're not seeing that consistency with the Blackhawks. I thought they were going to be slightly better than they were last season, but it's more the same result. But anyway, that will be the first game of a TNT doubleheader. That game will come on at 6:30 p.m. Central Time on TNT, True TV, and HBO Max. The VGK, Vegas Golden Knights, they're playing a back-to-back set. They had the shutout win over the Edmonton Oilers yesterday, 1-0. And they'll be playing against the Anaheim Ducks today at 9 o'clock p.m. Central Time. And then the other game of the TNT doubleheader will feature the Dallas Stars and the LA Kings. They'll be playing at 9 o'clock p.m. Central Time. That game will be on TNT, True TV, and HBO Max. And like I said earlier in this episode, the 2025 NHL 4 Nations face-off rosters will be announced today. Of course, Team Sweden and Team Finland will be announced first at 1 o'clock p.m. Central Time on NHL Network. And then Team Canada, Team USA will be announced at 5:30 p.m. Central Time on TNT. Of course, we'll also see Episode 1 of the 2025 NHL Road to the Winter Classic featuring the St. Louis Blues and Chicago Blackhawks. So that will also be on TNT. I think the NHL uploaded to their YouTube channel, but highly doubt it. They did upload the last ones, like, of course, the ones from 2020, 2019, and 2018, Road to the NHL Winter Classic. They didn't do the one on Vegas and Seattle, and then the other one on St. Louis and Minnesota when they had it. So I doubt that they'll do the same one for the Blues and Blackhawks. Of course, the Blues and Blackhawks, they played in the Winter Classic before in 2017 at Busch Stadium, which is home to the St. Louis Cardinals. Of course, the Blues came out with the win in that one. So we'll see if it's the same result in this year's Winter Classic between the Blues and Blackhawks. Of course, Connor Bedard will be playing his first Winter Classic, first outdoor game for him as well. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, guys, that is going to do it for this episode of the Hockey Talk TG podcast. So thank you guys for tuning in as always. I really do appreciate each and every one of you that tunes in to the Hockey Talk TG podcast all the time. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. God first as always. Be blessed. I don't think there'll be no episode Friday, but we'll just have to see. If I do decide there'll be no episode Friday, the Hockey Talk TG podcast, of course, I'll see you guys Monday. And also, I will put a post on YouTube and, of course, on my other social media pages letting you guys know that there will be no episode Friday. But I'm still deciding on whether I want to do an episode Friday or not. But anyway, yeah, that's my final statement right there, and I'll see you guys for the next episode of the Hockey Talk with TG podcast. Take care.